Hi everyone, welcome back to Mind and Growth Workout, a home for personal development. As usual, I am your host, Blessing Nwachukwu, and this is the last Saturday of the month. Hooray! I am so excited to have all of us here. And today we are wrapping up our goal planning, goal setting series. Yes, we are wrapping everything with a very powerful and interesting topic, which is 4 powerful ways to be consistent with your vision and goals without burning out. Yes, yes. If you do not know how to achieve your vision and goals without burning out, you will burn out. You get burnt out. That is it. So I'm going to teach you practical steps. Whatever I do is not just theory, practical steps to be consistent with your vision, to be consistent with your goals, to be consistent with whatever you want to achieve. I want you to note that consistency is not about doing things every day. I think that's a myth. People think when you say I am consistent, it means doing something every day. People host different consistency challenges. 30 days consistency challenge with Blessing, 31 days consistency challenge with Anne, 40 days consistency challenge with Winner, and a lot of all of those things. So people now tend to assume that consistency means doing something every day. No, that is not what consistency is. It is not about feeling motivated all the time, because there are days where you will not even be motivated. Even if someone is trying to motivate you, you won't be motivated. Consistency is never about not missing a plan or not missing a single thing, just following your habits, following your plan. Every single thing, you are like a robot. That is not what consistency is. Yes. So if you have to be consistent with your goals, you really have to redefine consistency, understand what it means, so that in cases where you do not achieve or do what you're supposed to do for that day, you won't be telling yourself, I wasn't consistent. Consistency is about returning after disruption. Yes, that is what consistency is. Like last year, I started this podcast series, but then I paused because of a lot of things. But I'm still back. I am consistent. There is a pause, there's disruption, but I'm still returning. I am coming back because I already have my vision for my podcast. I have something in mind. I have a clear picture of what I want to achieve with this podcast. So consistency is not just about doing things every day, just following this routine exactly. It's about returning even when your plans have been disrupted. It is about staying aligned with your vision. Yes, that is what consistency is. It is also about adjusting without quitting. Yes, it ceases to be consistency when you start doing something and then you quit along the way. But you can take pauses. Nobody is stopping you from taking pauses. It doesn't mean you are not consistent. Do you understand? It doesn't mean you are not consistent. You are just taking a pause, which you already factored in. Remember, I said when you are planning your year, understand that you have low energy days. Now, let's redefine what consistency really means. Most people think that consistency means showing up daily, maintaining the same energy, and never falling behind. No, it is not what it means. Consistency can be showing up weekly. You have to define it for yourself. How consistent do you want to be? Consistency is about repeated alignment, repeated action, not just repeated perfection. For you to be consistent, it doesn't mean you have to be perfect. You have to get rid of that spirit of perfectionism. For you to be consistent in whatever you want to do, it mustn't be perfect, provided you are doing what you said you want to do at that particular time which you said you would do it. That is what consistency is. It is choosing your vision again and again, even after disruption, just like I explained. Choosing your vision over and over again. I want you to take note of this. You are not inconsistent when you take pauses. You are only inconsistent when you fail, when you quit, rather. That is when you become inconsistent, when you quit. But if you're taking pauses to return, you are still consistent. You will come back to it. So I want you to take the pressure off yourself, thinking I have to show up daily. If that's what consistency is, because of the way people have been pushing 30 days consistency challenges. You now think consistency is showing up every minute, posting 5 times a day, posting 12 times a day for 60 days. Yes, it can be consistency. Like I said, you have to define it for yourself. What exactly can I do? If you want to show up once a week and you be consistent with once a week, that is consistency. If you are saying I'm going to be reading my Bible morning, afternoon, and night, and you are sticking to it every day, that's consistency. So instead of just reading 5 chapters at a stretch, you can now do read two in the morning, two in the afternoon, and then one at night. That is consistency. So now let me share the 4 powerful ways to be consistent with your goals and your visions this year. The first one is don't rely on motivation. Yes, do not rely on motivation. If you know you want to be consistent with your goals and your visions for this year, you have to note that motivation is emotional and emotions fluctuate. There are days where you feel sad, days where you not be in your happy mood, days where you feel overwhelmed, days where you do not want to talk to people, you just feel lonely. There are days like that. So if you're only going to work with motivation, how about days where you're not motivated? Will you be consistent? So you see, you have to just let go of motivation. Because if you're waiting to be motivated before you do things, you will keep waiting and keep waiting. Instead of relying on motivations, rely on systems, rely on habits. I will show up 3 times weekly. I will post 3 times weekly on my Instagram page. I will post 4 times weekly. Focus on your habits, focus on your system, rely on them. Instead of relying on motivation, I'll post when I'm happy. I'll post when I'm sad. I'll post when I have it all figured out. No. Rely on systems, build patterns, build habits, build systems that will work for you. So the first one, if you want to be consistent with your vision and your goals this year, do not rely on motivation. Do not, do not rely on motivation. The next one, the second one, is you have to connect your consistency to your vision. You cannot be consistent in another thing that is not your vision. Yes. For your vision and your goals to work, you have to be consistent with that goal, that repeated action. Remember, we've already talked about breaking those goals into weekly commitment. You already have small sizes that you perform. Regularly visit why your goals exist. Yes, regularly visit. Why is this goal existing here? That's another way to be consistent with it. If not, once you look track of the reason, you will not have any other reason to start. You will quit. So regularly visit. Why is this goal here? Remember, you already wrote down your reason. So when you go through what you have written down, you will see reasons not to give up, even when the going gets tough. I want you to ask yourself as you are revisiting that goal, does this goal still serve who I am becoming? Goals expire, do you know? Goals expire. Goals, like I explained, is like a destination. So ask yourself, does this show who I am becoming? Does it still serve this purpose? If it doesn't, let it go. You can let your goals go. Yes, you mustn't keep to them. Once they are not serving you anymore, let them go for your own sake. Then the third way to be consistent with your vision and your goals, build small, non-negotiable plans, non-negotiable actions, non-negotiable habits, whatever you want to call it. Small, non-negotiable habits. Build it. Why is it important? Firstly, it requires less energy to do it, yes. When you have a big task and a small task, which one do you think require more energy? It's the big task. So the small task requires more energy. So if you structure it into small, repeatable, manageable habits, it will be easy for you to get to that big goal. Choose habits that are easier to start. It will be easy to be consistent. Yes, remember I said you should build non-negotiable habits. So choose habits that are easier to start. Do not say because you want to exercise that you are going to do 300 squats every morning, then you now do 50,000 walk. You will not be consistent. Even if you're consistent for a week, the next week you will give up. So build small non-negotiable habits it will be easier for you to be consistent with it. So instead of just doing 500 push-ups every day, you can just say, okay, every day I am going to exercise for 10 minutes every day, or I'm going to do 20 minutes every day. Now, if you're writing a book, instead of saying I'm going to write a chapter every day, you can do I'm going to write a page. I'm going to write a paragraph. I'm even going to write 5 sentences. It will be easy for you. And sometimes when you're even doing that small task, before you know it, you are exceeding your timeline. So if you are reading, you can even do 10 minutes of reading instead of just an hour. You can do 30 minutes of reading instead of an hour. You can do just a page instead of the whole chapter of reading. That is a build small non-negotiable actions. If you are studying the Bible, you want to finish the Bible in a year, you can do one chapter in the morning, one in the afternoon, one at night, or two chapters in the morning, instead of just reading 10 chapters at a stretch. Now, what is the fourth way to be consistent with your goals and your visions this year? Plan for low energy days. I have been screaming this, I have been saying it all this while. Plan for your low energy days. There are days where you will not have the energy to show up. So plan for those days. Most plans assume high energy. Most of the plans you've written, if you check, most of them need high energy to achieve them. So that's why you have to plan for your low energy days. So these are the questions you need to ask yourself. What will I do on days I feel tired? Yes, still that your task, your big goal. On the days you feel tired, what will you do? What can you do? Now ask, what is the minimum version of this habit? What is the minimum version of this habit I can do? So if you want to be reading a chapter every single day, what is the minimum version for my low energy days? It can be a page. You now say, okay, from on my low energy days, I'll do a page. I bet you it will work. So if you can't do your full routine, like I said, you do the minimum and move on. If you can't do your full routine, do the minimum and move on. You are still consistent with your vision and your goals. You've not lost track. So what is the minimum vision? The minimum vision or the minimum version is the smallest possible action that still keeps you aligned with your vision. Yes, the minimum version, that smallest action that still keeps you aligned with your vision. That smallest task of that your goal, whatever you are doing every day. Like I already explained, if you want to be reading a chapter of a book every day, you can say on my low energy days, I'll do my minimum version, which is what? A page. It is not laziness. I do not want you to think that it's laziness when you just read a page instead of just reading the whole chapter. You are strategic about it and you are consistent. You are showing up no matter what. It is called strategic consistency. You are very strategic. You are not giving yourself the reason or giving anybody the reason to give up. I have something written down here. Most people plan only for high energy days, free schedules, and perfect moods. But real life includes tired days, emotional days, busy days, unmotivated days. You and I know. So instead of just planning for the high energy days, also plan for your low energy days. When your plans do not account for low capacity days, you say that you will do nothing. You would even give up. So you have to plan it, have a minimum version for whatever goal, whatever habit, whatever task you are doing. If you're doing 20 minutes exercise, your minimum can be 10 minutes. Your minimum can even be 10 push-ups. You've exercised for that day. Your minimum can be just having 1,000 steps. So now, how do you define a minimum version? Or you can call it minimum vision, whatever it is. How do you define a minimum version? First one, you have to identify the goal. What is this my goal that I am doing now? Exercising for 20 minutes every day or exercising for 20 minutes thrice a week. Whatever it is, whatever the goal is. Now remember I said how to define your minimum or your minimum version. First of all, identify the goal, exercise, skill development, whatever it is. The second step, ask this question. What is the smallest version of this that still counts? What is the smallest version of this habit that still counts? Instead of doing 30 minutes reading, you can do a page. You can even do a paragraph. And the step three, make it almost impossible to fail. Make it almost impossible to give up on that. What do I mean? Instead of just doing a 1 hour exercise, just say I'll do 5 minutes exercise on my low energy days. That's the minimum version I can do. Be consistent. That is how you be consistent with your vision and your goals. See these four things I listed. These are the things that will help you. Do not rely on motivation. Yes, do not rely on motivation. Align your consistency with your vision. Build small, non-negotiable habits. And then your minimum version, plan for your low energy days. So if you're writing, instead of just writing a full page, you can just say, I'll write a paragraph, I'll write 5 sentences. This is how to plan for your minimum version. And you'll be consistent with your goals. Before you know it, you've achieved that big goal that looked like a mountain. And that's where we end it on today's episode on 4 powerful ways to be consistent with your vision and your goals. I do hope you enjoyed this episode. Please like, share, subscribe, and comment, and make sure you turn on the notification bell for upcoming episodes, because next month we are bringing a powerful topic that's still aligned with our January. I love you all. Bye.